Welcome to the F3 podcast, where we discuss all things that pertain to faith, family, and and finances. Excuse me.
You need my water.
Excuse me. This is what I like about podcasts. You can just be yourself.
Dry throat, no.
Dry throat and all, right? That's one heck of an introduction. But here, no subject is off limits.
That's it.
No subject is off limits. We are your host today. I am Dr. Lionel M. Blair Sr., and I'm seated next to the most glorious woman I know. My God, she's the sainted mother herself.
Oh, Jesus.
Amen. The sainted mother herself, Dr. Jasmine Blair.
It's quite a pedestal to live up to.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome to the F3 podcast, everybody. If this is your first time with us, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time we premiere a new episode. And be sure to take us with you on the go. You can find the F3 podcast where all your favorite podcasts are streamed. Check out the links in the show notes in the description box. You'll find information on some of our books and our other products and services, and you'll find out how you can become an avid supporter of the F3 podcast, as well as suggest a topic, because no subject is off limits. So if there's something you want us to talk about, a question you want us to answer, hey, we've talked about everything from sex in the church to UFOs. No subject is off limits. And ask a question, we will be sure to answer. So I'm excited today. Today's topic is a viewer request, and we're going to talk about toxic masculinity today. Now, I think this is a very, very good topic. From the church world to the secular world to the entertainment industry, this is something that's getting a lot of buzz lately. And, this is one of those topics I definitely have a lot to say on. I don't say a lot on social media just because of the scope of the audience.
Right.
You have to have mature minds and mature individuals present for this subject. But I'm gonna kick this over to you first because I have a whole lot to say. Now, before I kick this over to you, I do want to make some basic definitions just so everybody understands what we are talking about. So toxic, according to Google, is something that is poisonous, very harmful, or unpleasant in a pervasive or insidious way. Masculinity, qualities or attributes regarded as characteristics of men. So we're talking about toxic masculinity, things that are considered to be characteristics of what it means to be a man, but these things are harmful and unpleasant. So I'm going to kick this over to you. Now, when you hear toxic masculinity, what are some of the things that come to mind for you?
The first thing I think about is insecurity.
Uh-huh.
Because see, toxic masculinity to me is when a man feels like he has to exert his manhood in every situation. And he always have to prove that he's a man, and he always has to show that he's a man, and it really goes back to being insecure. You are not solid in your identity as a man. That's why you got to prove all the time that you are a man. And a lot of that leads to a lot of that comes from not being properly affirmed by a father. A lot of that has something to do with that. Rejection can play a role in that. All of that. So manhood is really about reflecting the image of God first and foremost. Because man was made in the image of God. And so are women, but we're talking about man right now. When you don't know who you are as a man in God, then you will never really fully understand your manhood, because your manhood comes from God. Okay. Now, I believe that, if you don't study God, you'll never fully understand yourself as a man.
Ooh, come on now.
You'll never fully understand yourself
Come on here
as a man, and being a man is not about being some alpha male like a gorilla beating your chest.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
It's okay to be tender as a man. It's okay to be loving and caring and compassionate as a man.
Yeah.
It's okay to cry as a man. It's okay to have weaknesses as a man. You understand what I'm saying? But all these things I just mentioned, men don't do because they feel like it's not manly. You know, if you feel if you don't, if like me, I'm not a Mr. Fix It kind of guy.
That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. That's one of the things that caught my attention the most that I appreciated is that you didn't feel the need to fit every definition of what society says is a man. You did not hesitate to say, look, I'm not the guy that's going to go to Home Depot, buy a garbage disposal, and then come home, unplug the fuses, turn the breaker off,
I pay people,
replace the garbage disposal, and put it back. I'm not the guy that goes to the store to buys my own oil and rolls up under my car and does my own oil change. That I'm not that guy. I'm going to take the car to the shop. I'm going to call the plumber to come fix it. I'm not the guy that's going to take a washing machine apart and replace the parts and put it together. I'm not the guy that's going to take the faucet in the shower off the tub and put in a new one. I'm not putting in a new faucet. I'm not installing a new sink. I'm not installing recessed lighting in the kitchen. I will call and pay somebody for those things. I love the fact that you could say that you're secure in that, and you don't feel the need to borderline electrocute yourself or cut your finger off to prove that you are a man and that you could take care of me.
I only changed a tire once, and I ain't changing no more. Okay, I pay for it.
But and I believe there was a different time in society where they did teach, men to do all these things. They taught auto shop and plumbing. They taught all this stuff in school.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it.
Wood shop work, and you was making tables and chairs, and that's great. And if you still are somebody that carries those skills, that's great. Yes. But it's similar to how, there are certain things that we deem, or if you don't do X, Y, and Z, then you're not a real woman. There are things like this that society says, if you don't do all of this, you're not a real man. Where'd those type of men go? I think that has its place, but just as we've accepted that every woman is not the type that's going to stay home and be the homemaker, every man is not the type that's going to build a house from his bare hands.
We're just house been a fell over. Okay, I've been destroyed the poorhouse.
We're gonna huff and puff and it's gone.
Yeah, for real.
But we got to get to a point where we realize that doesn't fit every man, and that does not make a man a less of a man because he's not changing tires and is greasy, because he didn't went and changed his own oil and replaced the engine. These things are skills and tasks and trades, and they're good. We need them, but you can't expect every man to be a plumber, to be an auto mechanic, to be a carpenter, to be an electrician, to do lawn work, all of that. I mean, that's like 5 different professions.
Yeah.
TV, movies, and past phases in society has jumbled all these things. And I believe that's where some of the pressure comes in for a lot of men.
Right.
To be all of these things that they're just not, and they down themselves and feel like they're less of a man because they don't do all these things.
Right. Because society says this is what a man is.
Mm-hmm.
And you got these men that are trying to force themselves to live up to this, and a lot of them, they can't live up to it.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore they try to supplement it by sleeping around, proving that they're man.
That part.
Sleeping around, making a bunch of babies they don't take care of, and all this other stuff. Because we says this is what a man's supposed to be. Matter of fact, women, society is more merciful to women than they are to men.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it. They're single mothers that are quick to get benefits.
Mm-hmm.
But see, let a single father try to get benefits. He's going to have a harder time. Because society has this view of what manhood is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be, if you're a man, you're supposed to get out there and work hard and get it yourself because you're a man.
Mm-hmm.
But what about the ones that work smart but not hard?
Yeah. Some men are more intellectual,
yeah,
and less hands-on.
Yeah. And see, I'm so glad you say that, because some men are more intellectual and less hands on. That don't make them less than a man.
Right.
Let me say it again. That does not make them less than a man. And I want every man watching me right now. Listen, you don't have to prove your manhood. Find what works for you. Mm-hmm. And be secure within yourself and be secure in that. Find what works for you, as long as you're producing something and getting results. But find what works for you. I've had issues in the past. With even some leaders that have tried to cover us in the past, mm-hmm. because they felt like I should have been doing certain things as a man. And I'm like, that ain't who I am.
Right.
I ain't finna be doing that. Mm-hmm. If God is leading me to do this according to this direction and it works for me, okay, I'm not gonna let you come along and try to change that.
Right.
You know, uh, 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 um, you know, you know, just because you're a workaholic don't mean I got to be a workaholic.
Right.
Okay. Well, what I do works for me. Okay. Mm-hmm. So no, I'm not gonna get out there and get 2, 3, and 4 and 5 jobs. I'm not doing it ever. I will never do that. Okay, my faith is a certain way, and I get results with God. I ain't doing that. I laid it out for God. Your word says this is this. So this is what I'm not gonna do, mm-hmm. based upon the promises in your word, and it worked for us. You understand what I'm saying? So when people figure, well, this is what a man is, and this is what I saw my daddy do. This is what my see. A lot of y'all try to force what you saw, or you try to force what was instilled in you about what manhood is. Let me free the men, because see, you don't always got to work by the sweat of your brow to provide. Okay. You don't always have to work by the sweat of your brow to provide. Because everybody want to put all the provision on the men, though, mm-hmm. right? And I believe a man should provide. But guess what? You read the Proverbs 31 woman, she was providing too. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm listen. I'm not against a man that wants to be the sole provider for his family or whatever. That's fine, just as long as you cut that woman something and give her a little stash on her own.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to stay right there with that provision piece.
Yeah.
Because that ties into part of the conversation about toxic masculinity that's being discussed in social media today. Because, see, for a lot of men who are toxic, that provision equals an entitlement. And that's been the conversation that's been going around. Oh, because I work and have a paycheck. You should cook me dinner every day. You should pick my drawers up off the floor. You should give me sex whenever I feel like it, 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. And then the other addition to it is when they're men of that mindset, they don't want a woman who has her own.
Right.
They think, oh, you don't want no real man. You trying to be a man. Why does it? Because see, the toxic masculinity says my paycheck entitles me to any and everything I want.
Right.
So then when you meet a woman who's already established, who makes her own money, who's not a gold digger, who's not impressed by how much money you make, probably makes 2, 3 times as much as you. Now you don't want her. Now she's too manly. Now she's too demanding. Why? Because you can't just throw your little paycheck up in her face and get what you want. Because now what she's requiring of you as a man has nothing to do with a paycheck. Mm-hmm. She's now requiring you to provide emotionally. Mm-hmm. She's now requiring you to be present and to provide for her with your feelings, with your emotions, mm-hmm. to now be part of activities, to invest time, she's requiring your honesty, your sensitivity. These are things that you can't provide with your paycheck. And now you get mad and she high maintenance, she this and that. So because you can't throw your little paycheck up there and get
on.
Let me help you. A real woman is not a stripper. You don't throw your paycheck up and then just get whatever you want from her.
Come on.
That is the mindset that's in toxic masculinity. I know we were having this conversation privately. Did this last batch of men, they need to go back. They need to do a factory recall. A lot of these millennial men, they need to do a factory recall. They need to take them all back. A lot of them came from broken homes. They had They had toxic daddies. A lot of them didn't have no daddies, and they did not have a man in their life. Think about it. If for a young man who doesn't have a father, that comes from a single mother home, how many male teachers do you think that young man had? From kindergarten to high school.
Most of my teachers were women.
You might get one in elementary school, but you usually don't get your first male teacher to about middle school, about 6th, 7th, 8th grade.
I only had probably about 2 or 3 male teachers my entire time in school, come to think about it.
I've had a few, but most of them came in middle school. And then, you'll get some in college. So how much part of the toxic masculinity really comes from the lack of healthy masculinity that these young men see growing up.
Right.
They don't have that example. And so now you have a lot of entitled narcissistic brats that think, well, because they throw their little paycheck up, they're supposed to get everything that they want. And then if I do A, B, and C, I'm gonna get E, F, and G, and that doesn't work, they go have tantrums.
Right.
Oh, you entitled, and you this and that, or you mean, you high maintenance, you want too much, you always gonna be single, you trying to be a man. Now you start to berate women because the formula that you thought was going to get you whatever you wanted didn't work. Mm. Now, and like you said, it ties into that inferiority. So now you feel less than because your paycheck don't get you what you want. You're intimidated or bothered or don't want a woman that already has her own, that's already established. She doesn't need your money. She doesn't need a place to stay. She doesn't need to borrow your car. She is secure on what. So what if all you're bringing to the table is your paycheck and sex? You really don't have anything else of substance to provide.
Peen and paycheck.
We told you about them PPP loans. We told you about the PPP loans. So the reality of it is there has to be a revolution, because a lot of these young men, oh, no woman want no real man. They don't want to hold nobody there. No, you're not prepared to provide anything other than sex and a paycheck. Mm-hmm. And you think that that's supposed to get you everything that you want. And when it doesn't, and there's a deeper connection, a deeper covenant that's required of you, which if you read the Bible about loving your wife the way Christ loved the church, loving your wife as your own self, dwelling with her and understanding as a weaker vessel, and washing her to make her, to present her spotless, without spot or wrinkle, back to yourself, you understand you can't do none of that with a paycheck. First of all, if we're going to put it in context, the majority of what the Bible requires you to do as a husband for your wife, a paycheck can't do none of that. Uh-oh. A paycheck can't do none of that. Sex is one piece of that. But 99% of what the Bible commands you to do as a husband has nothing to do with sex or paycheck. So then what? What do you do then?
Come on.
What do you do then?
Right.
So this is why we need more mature men. I told you they need to do factory recall on a lot of these millennial men. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So it's left a lot of women with two choices. Either you become a baby cougar and you get you a young man that's 20, 25, that's more mature.
A baby cougar.
Or you get a sugar daddy. I mean, those are the options. Somebody who's older, who's already gone through their stupid mistakes. And now that's why don't nobody their own age want them, because of their stupid mistakes.
Oh my goodness.
It's not a lot of options.
Yeah.
You've got too many of these men that are toxic and they're whining. Oh, well, I did. Okay. Your paycheck, most of what the Bible requires you to do has nothing to do with a paycheck. So if you really watched this, studied and understood the assignment, you would recognize what it is, and you would not have an attitude, and you would not feel pressured and frustrated and angry and have a tantrum when it's being required of you to do what the Bible commands you to do. It's not too hard. It's not too difficult. It's that you haven't had the right male mentor and male father figure in your life to walk you down the steps and show you how to do it.
Right. And it's not really that hard to comprehend.
It's not.
It's just something that you need to change your mind concerning. Because see, a lot of what society put on men is not even biblical.
No, it's not.
See, I believe in biblical masculinity. I don't believe in toxic masculinity.
Ooh, come on
I
here.
believe in biblical masculinity. I believe in a man that's going to cover and protect his family. Okay, a man that gives honor to his a husband who gives honor to his wife. You understand what I'm saying? A man who works with his wife. Okay, to provide for the family and take care of his children. Things like that. So what happens and see, because see, we got to talk about this, because and we probably talk about toxic femininity another day.
Yeah.
We'll probably talk about that next. But I hear a lot of women say, you know um we'll address this in full detail the next one.
Okay, go ahead.
But I hear a lot of women say, you know, I need a man that has this, and they have this long list of what a man,
a long wish list from here to Tallahassee.
But see, it's because of what society says a man should be and do. But what happens if you're the breadwinner, though? Like the Proverbs 31 woman, she was the breadwinner. Her husband won't just sit around doing nothing,
right?
Because he was ruling in the gates with the elders, but she was the breadwinner. She had business. Matter of fact, the elders at the gate were buying her stuff. Read your Bible; it's in there. You understand what I'm saying? What if God made you a Proverbs 31 wife? Woo! And your husband comes in and he makes less than you or has less than you, but he's called to do great things. Then what? You understand? But see, we got to come to the table and understand this, understanding that first and foremost, you are a team. It don't matter who make more than what. Okay, listen, I financially, I could be worth $1 million and she could be worth $100 million. You think I care? It's all going in the same accounts.
And see, real quick, part of the problem, and we definitely got to address this in another episode, but part of the problem is a lot of women have wasted that type of loyalty and investment on a man that wasn't their husband. You've wasted that on a boyfriend. You've wasted that on a 10-year fiance. You've wasted that on a friend with benefits. So now that God has actually sent you somebody, all your loyalty and investment while he's building those things or while he's going on to great things, you done spent all that on the wrong person. So now you got an attitude. Now you're combative and angry and argumentative and contentious.
I'm gonna tell you something. And I'm gonna be somewhat transparent here, just a little bit, because some of y'all like to know folk business anyway.
That don't mean you gotta tell you.
No, I'm gonna say this though. I'm gonna say this. When I first met my wife, I had a vision and I had nothing.
That's true.
Okay, let me say that again. When I first met my wife, I had a vision and I had nothing. I had nothing to my name. I didn't even own a vehicle. Nothing. Okay. I stayed with my mother, for Christ's sake. Okay. But I had a vision and I had a ministry and I was working that thing though. You understand what I'm saying? See, you don't just marry a man that ain't doing nothing. Okay.
He can do nothing by himself. I keep telling these women, if he has nothing for you to help him with, he doesn't need you. He doesn't need help doing nothing. He's capable of doing nothing by himself.
Yeah, you're called to be a help me. So guess what? She got behind my vision and became the backbone of that thing. Okay. And then it was through that, other things that we're doing now came into being. You understand what I'm saying? And then God has positioned me to where I was able to relieve her of a lot. Okay. But in the beginning, it won't like that. Okay. I came back to Virginia practically with nothing off of a word from God. Okay. Because I planning on going back to where I was and try to rebuild my life there. And then when I got here, God made me stay here. When I got here, he made me stay here. Okay. So with that being said, you know, when as a man, it's okay if you don't have everything in the beginning. And a lot of times, because the highest office starts off in the lowest place. Okay, a lot of times you come up like that. Now there's some that are entering into these marriages or whatever the case may be. They already got their own bag. That's cool. I applaud you. Okay, but every man is processed differently. You know, and we got to change our view of a man. Okay, and just because he don't have something in the beginning, don't make him less of a man.
Right. But I think some of that, our expectations do need to change with age because of time, maturity, and experience.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I expect a 20-year-old to start off and not have a whole lot, not have a lot of wealth to his name, maybe not have a car, maybe not necessarily bought a house. I don't expect a 50-year-old to be still living at home with their mother, never have owned an apartment, never have had a vehicle. You see what I'm saying? So I get what you're saying, but let's put it in context, because if you 50, you can't be starting where a 20-year-old is. I'm sorry.
And I've met some of them guys.
Don't mean that you're not a candidate, but let you stay where you at and build some stuff up, finish your maturity. Obviously, you know, you might have got divorced, you might be starting over. That's different than just nobody wanted you and you just still immature.
Right.
You know, you got to put about 20s. You got to put your requirements in context now.
Yeah.
Because it's different when you in your early 20s or your mid 30s, but when you start hitting them 40s and 50s, at some point you have to have learned from your mistakes.
Yeah.
You haven't gotten an apartment after 40, 50 years of life. You might need to go ahead, find you a male mentor and really make some changes.
I've met people, man, like they didn't even get a place of their own until they turned like 50 and 60. I'm like, you never had a place of your own until you turn about 50, 60. That's one heck of a life to live.
It's immature.
That's one heck of a life to live. So I'm glad you put it in that context. But I want to encourage all the men, you know, regardless of where you are, okay, you can build from where you are. Okay, if you're in a stuck place, you don't have to be stuck. You don't have to live by society. You don't have to prove that you're a man. Just be a man. You have to prove that you're a man. Just do better with bettering yourself as a person. See, if you better yourself as a human being, then you're gonna be a good man. Okay, I don't think y'all caught that. If you work on bettering yourself as a person, your character, okay, that's going to be expressed through your manhood.
That's true.
I don't be running around, I don't be walking around the house all day tomorrow. I'm King Ding-a-ling. You know, who reverence me. You see what I'm saying? I don't walk around doing all that. Now, every once in a while I play around, be like, I'm King Ding-a-ling right here. I'm Big Daddy. You understand what I'm saying? You know, but everybody in the house know who I am. Like, I don't have to run around. I'm your daddy, boy. You reverence me as such. Like, I don't even think like that, you know. And when you have insecurity issues, so you think about stuff like that. You know, you feel like your manhood is being disrespected because you may have made a mistake or did something wrong, and you're being addressed about it. Okay. You know, I have I've seen some things on social media. People have tried to confront us. I remember when people try to, you know, come at me in the past, and you would step up and say something, you know, while men are going back and forth, and then these men so-called try to put you in your place. Talking about let us men handle this. You're a woman, you shouldn't be addressing a man.
I love it. I think it's comical.
You're a woman, you shouldn't be addressing a man.
That's a sign of toxic masculinity. Yeah. The Bible says and let the wife submit to her own husband. That don't mean every woman's supposed to shut up and submit to everything that every man says. Yeah. We love to take scripture out of context when it comes to women.
Yeah, the Bible says man is the head of woman. If you look it up in the Greek, it's talking about husband and wife. Okay. Christ is the head of the husband is the head of the wife. That's how it goes. Not every man is over every woman. Because if every man was over every woman, then guess what? As a man, I could command any woman to do whatever I want.
That's how some of these men think, though. That's another episode.
Dumb as hell.
Anyway, that's another episode.
Anyway, that's just dumb.
You have a lot of Christian men that think that, and that's why they do that. That's why they want you to shut me up. That's why they feel like I'm doing too much. Because in their little twisted mind, God bless their hearts, they think every woman's supposed to bow and do whatever they say because that's order.
Hey, you got some crazy women that think that way too. Mm-hmm. You got some crazy women that think that way. You know, quite a few people have come to me talking about you need to shut her up and you need to run your house and stuff like that. I'm like, well, just because she says something you didn't like don't mean that, you know, I'm not governing my house.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Why is your ego so bruised?
Right.
If what I said doesn't apply to you, then why is your ego so bruised? Why are you so upset? You have some men that cannot stand the truth or any type of correction from a woman. You know, you can't talk to a man like that. No, I'm not going to talk to my husband like that. But if you're doing wrong and it's biblically wrong, I'm going to address you like that.
Right. And I tell people, if my wife is wrong, I will correct her in private. I said, but you ain't going to sit up here and just talk to my wife any kind of way, man or woman.
No. We're not doing that.
Man or woman. I don't care. I don't care if you're a woman. You ain't gonna handle my wife any kind of way. I don't care who you are.
But see, that's how
my wife.
Toxic masculinity is. And like you said, it's an inferiority. It's a fragileness there. That masculinity is real fragile and they feel the need. Anything that's gonna shake it, gonna huff and puff and blow it down. They gotta know. If you are that triggered by a general statement that you feel the need to do all this damage control, something's wrong.
These ninjas is something else.
I told you they need to do a factory recall.
That's dumb. Some people, okay.
We talk about reparations. All women who got a baby daddy that was born between 1982 and 1992 need a check.
Jesus Christ. For real.
You need to file a claim. They need a check for $300K.
Yeah. For real. You know?
Class action suit.
And their parents need to be thoroughly examined and held accountable. But you know, just men, again, if you would just focus on just being a good person, it'll come out in your manhood. Mm-hmm. You know, see me as the husband. First of all, I'm not in competition with my wife.
That's it.
I'm not in competition with my wife. Number one. Now, number two, I am a protector. I'm not. I try not to be overprotective, but I am a protector. You know, my wife don't need permission to go to the store. You know, she lets me know where she's going. Mm-hmm. You know, she don't need permission to spend money. It's just that if she gonna spend a large amount of money, she tells me, or she asks me what I think. But she don't need my permission to go grocery shopping, spend money, to go out somewhere with somebody, one of her friends.
We've had women that had to get permission before they went and bought deodorant and tampons. That's ridiculous.
For real.
That's ridiculous.
For real.
If you can't buy $10 pads without checking with somebody, that's too much. That's an unhealthy amount of control.
Yeah, unhealthy amount of control. And
what you gonna say? No, I
right.
would see. Let me not go there today.
Right. Matter of fact, you should have it in bulk.
Exactly.
So yeah, you know, I'm as I'm speaking as a man, I'm not in competition with my wife, but I do cover and protect my family.
That's it.
Now you want to see the lion come out of me mess with her or one of my children? All right, and you're gonna see Lionel. You're not gonna see the apostle. I will take the mantle off and put it in my closet. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. For real. You want to see Reptar? Okay. What is Reptar anyway? Is that a dinosaur?
From the Rugrats.
Oh,
remember the
okay.
little green thing?
Okay. Yeah. 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 You want to see? No. You want to see Godzilla
Oh,
or Kong?
goodness.
You want to see Godzilla or Kong come out? Okay. Mess with Jasmine. Okay. That's
Leave me alone.
That's the only
alone.
time I really fight. I
Leave
would
me
fight
alone.
physically. I would fight. Do not mess with her. Outside of that, I'm a peaceful man. Outside of that, I'm peaceful man. You can talk about me, call me false prophet all you want. I mean, you can't prove it, but you can call me that all you want. But if you mess with her,
just don't do it.
You have hell to pay.
Not recommended.
You have hell to pay. Okay, and I'm gonna make sure you pay in full.
Immediately.
Okay. I'll drive long distance. Don't play with me by my wife. I love Jesus.
Any closing remarks on the topic? What would you, if for those men that are listening that may have identified with some of the toxicity that we've discussed, what would you say to encourage them to be able to grow and transform if they want to do better?
Well, first of all, and this may take a little bit of time, but you got to find you some kind of male accountability. Find you some male mentors, not a woman. God bless all the sisters and all the mothers out there. But you need a man. You need a man over you, holding you accountable. Or if you can't find a male mentor, find a brotherhood or something that's going to hold you accountable. Not these crazy secret societies, but find you a group of males or something. They got groups out here. They got groups of men out here. You see what I'm saying? If you can't find you a male mentor, a spiritual father, and like I said, that may take some time because you got to build relationship, build trust, and things like that, and filter through all the crap that's out here. But nevertheless, get you some male accountability. You may want to start reading some books, listening to some podcasts, just on manhood alone.
Yeah.
It's okay not to know. It's okay not to know. But what makes not knowing and bad is when you're not learning. You're not willing to learn. So I'll leave you with that.
That's good. That's good. And definitely, I want to encourage the women, don't lower your standards.
Yeah.
Don't lower your standards. It doesn't mean that somebody, quote unquote, is off the list. But if they're identifying with some of these things and some other red flags that you have, give them some time to mature and come out of that. Because, once you're in it, you're in it. Once you cross that line and, once you're married, you have to deal with this person. It's better to wait and allow that person to mature, have a male mentor, and to process out some of those character traits, because that's not something you really want to be stuck with for the rest of your life.
Right.
So we hope you enjoyed this episode of the F3 podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Be sure to click that link to find out how you can be a supporter of the podcast and to suggest a topic. And definitely we want to thank our viewers for sending in this topic as well. Be sure to follow us on IG at King and Queen Blair. And until next time on the F3 podcast.